So you are welcome to the Benin Advancement Forum, the home of all the Benins. Today we are live, and my name's Dele Bello, and today with me, Mr. Yomo Osamudiame Orukbe Maui, or Maui Osamudiame, sorry, and also with me today, Mr. Joe Wise. So today we are going to be having a sort of interactive discussion about the Benin history. And I believe Mr. Joe Samudiame Orukbe will be moderating the show. And yes, we can go, sir, if you're ready. Your mic,
Good
sir.
evening. Yeah, good evening, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen from all around the world. My name is Joe Osemutiame Maudi Orupe, and you're on to the Benin Advancement Forum live session. With me today is our president and founder, Mr. Dele Bello, and also the secretary and co-founder of the organization, Mr. Joel Iyoha. Um, Yes, it's been a long time we've had a session like this together, and it's an honor to have all of us congregate again, for the sole purpose of educating, enlightening, and emancipating our people. Um, Today there are a couple of things that have happened in the past that we would like to touch. One of those very important subject matter is the issue of the distortion of the Benin history by non-Benins and the deliberate attempt by non-Benins to cause, rifts between the Edos, who are a tribe of the Benin ethnic group, and the Esans, who are also a tribe from the Benin ethnic group, and also in extension various other tribes who are non-Edos but are also tribes from the Benin ethnic stock. So, Mr. President, Mr. Secretary, I would like us to first address the issue of the distortion of Benin history by non-Benins, and sometimes by um, Benins, actually, some from the Edo tribe and some from the Esan tribe, some from Ika, some from Agbor, and the rest of them. So I want us to discuss, touch on this very important, painful occurrence that we are experiencing. And from there, we can, after we deal extensively with this, we can now proceed with the issues, the calculated attempts by non-Benins to, create division amongst the Benin people, specifically the Edos and the Esans. So, Mr. President, I'd like you to, take the first shot.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dele Bello, and I'm the president of the Benin Advancement Forum. Uh, Thank you for the good questions, sir. And uh, I would like to say some few words. And when our one of our great obas, when he was asked that period, he said, "Let those who want to speak Agbor, Ika, let them speak Ika. Those who want to speak Esan, allow them to speak Esan. Those who want to speak Edo, allow them to speak Edo. Those who want to speak Urhobo, allow them to speak Urhobo." And that wasn't a mistake. But it's like those who doesn't stand for the good interest of the Benin people or the Edo people are now trying to use that against the Edo people. Uh, we have been saying this in the past few years. For example, the IPOBs. or the Oduduwa nation, or what they call them. They have been out there distorting our history in any way they can, any way they can. But sometimes history will always, and the truth will always prevail. And that is why we are here today. We want to talk to our people because knowing whom you are is very, very important. It's one of the biggest knowledge, you know, it's the biggest gift you will have in your life because it's like some of our people today are a little bit confused, especially when it comes to, I would say, the Esan region, the Anioma or whatsoever, or the in Delta State. We're having this biggest problem today because it seems there are people there who are trying to manipulate the Benin history, trying to carve a state out of those areas and give it to the eastern region. So to achieve that, they are using every means to make sure they distort the Benin history so that the Benin history will not have uh, history origin. You know, the people of the Benin is not relegated to the Edo people alone. I think we have more than 60 ethnic nationalities. I would say nationality. They who belong, people who belong to the Edo tribe. You know, the Edoid. And we can see today that Igbos are trying to carve these people out to join them in their lost fight for their own Biafra nation. Likewise, the Ododuwa people, you know. And by so doing that, there's a lot of mistake they have been making, you know, distorting the history of the Benin is one of them. And this is why we are here today to start putting every record straight for our people to understand what is going on. It's a wake-up call on our people to start taking their stand because there's a big thing that is coming to Nigeria. We can see that. And our people should not be left behind. I'm not calling for war against anybody, against any tribe, or against any region or whatsoever. But if Nigeria is going apart, let us go apart peacefully. Let everybody take what they brought into Nigeria. Don't add any other people into your imaginary nation. In the aspect of marginalization, you know, we are the people who are really marginalized because the revenue of Nigeria is coming out of Edo State and Delta State, which is the South, at least 75%. We are the people who are supposed to be crying for our independence or crying for our own nation, but we are not doing that because we are feeding the Yoruba people, we are feeding the Northerners, we are feeding the Igbos. So in all this, for them to achieve what they want, the only way is to distort the Benin history. But we know our history because our history is not just written, it's also passed from fathers to their children. We have our own oral history. And we have a lot of evidence because our fathers, they were not fools. They were always putting their evidence in writing, not in the writing you people know, not the Western writing, but in all our artifacts. Because if you go closely and you look at it very well, then you will understand this is history. This is pure history. And we need to start teaching our people our history for them to know whom they are. So thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. I like the General Secretary to Mr. Joel Iyoha to actually, contribute and take the second shot on this very important subject matter.
Thank you, sir, for this opportunity given me. Uh, First and foremost, let me start by saying that History is made, it's not forged. So everyone who may wish to know and understand the basic facts that has been in existence, which can never be overthrown, is that the Benin history is a viable one, that nobody can suddenly wake up and distort, thinking he or she wants to achieve a aim that are not achievable. The Benin history has been so fundamental that every other information regarding Nigeria cannot actually be discussed without the Benin history. That is to show how viable it is, to the extent that we have branches of relatives, brothers and sisters by immediate and extension, which today form other ethnicity. But the basic thing we should understand, irrespective of the ethnic device that we have as a Benin race, we share one ancestry, one root, one line of authority, and one blood as a people. So despite the fact that we speak a little bit of dialects different from each other, also similar to some other part of the country, does not change the fact that we are not blood related. If anyone may wish to know, the very first map of Africa drawn by the Europeans, it is only the Benin Kingdom and the, I think, Zamfara Kingdom you find in that map in the location presently known as Nigeria. And in that Benin Kingdom map drawn in that first map of Africa, it extends to the rainforest of the coast of Africa, known as Guinea generally, which evolved up to Cameroon, present-day Ghana, Mali, and all that. So Benin history is a broad one. It is like a dead elephant where every other people come to feed from. So we are not bothered. We know we are here to set the record straight that Benin history should not be distorted and should not be toyed with, despite the fact that nationally and politically we have been subsided, but with the power of history we have and know by all, nobody can subvert the will of Benin people in general because the evidence is clear. We are grateful that our fellow brothers and sisters of other ethnic stock related to Benin's, irrespective of the language we speak, are now waking up, trying to deassociate themselves from the dastard behavior of some agitators who wants to use other people's head against each other just to achieve their aim, for which their main reason is to achieve their aim and then turn those they claim to be theirs as their slaves. But that we will not allow. And we are grateful that our people, generally of Benin origin, across the globe, are waking up and standing firm against this dastard behavior. So we urge everyone who are engaging in these activities of trying to distort the Benin history and insulting our elders and leaders to disease. Otherwise, if we choose to toil the path they are toiling, I believe they will regret that which they have started. So that's all for now.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Very valid contribution there. I'd also like to, add a couple of, from my own perspective. I think one of the first things that we as Benins need to first do at this point is, you know, have this self-awareness. We need to have some sort of self-awareness. First, who are we? Where are we from? And where are we? What's the purpose? Why we are who we are? And where are we heading to? It's very fundamental that we have an understanding of who we are, where we are from, our purpose, and where we are heading to. Because understanding this could help us, move in the right direction. One of the things that I have observed, is the lack of willing persons who who have the understanding of our history and have an understanding of our culture and tradition. We've seen the absence of such people in the social media space, and that has created some sort of vacuum. And it has, and there can't be a void. So it has given the opportunity for people, one, have big historians, people who have, how do I put it now? People who have ulterior motives. It's giving them the opportunity to take over the void, the vacuum that has been created. And this has caused some sort of setback for us as a people. Now we have people who are not Benins, or people who are of Benin um, ancestry, coming out to misrepresent our history, misrepresent our culture, misrepresent our tradition. And the reason why they can do this and do it boldly is because there is an absence, there is a vacuum that has been created, by those of us who have an understanding of our history, our culture, and tradition. And so, one of the first things we ought to do as a people is have the right set of people represent us, socioculturally, socioeconomically, historically. When it comes to deliberating on our history and our culture, we need the right set of people with the right information so that we can be able to put out the right information out there. Because if we do not put the right information out there, there are a lot of people who would want to learn but cannot, access information. And because they cannot access information, they cannot really learn. So one of the first things we ought to do is to encourage those who have an understanding, who have knowledge in the aspect of our history, our culture, and our tradition. Would encourage them to step forward. We collaborate with them. We give them space to be able to ventilate, their knowledge and impact upon our people. That's on one part. Then on the other part, we need to begin as a people, as Benin, to begin to discourage people who deliberately distort our history, by shutting down the platforms they use, you know, to distort and disseminate false information about the Benin people. One of the things that I've noticed is that we have this like a bicycle attitude. We have this I don't care attitude. It's a lukewarm attitude, you know, towards um, all these um, shenanigans going on by non-Benins, and people of Benin origin who really have ulterior motives, and with a lackadaisical attitude, a lukewarm attitude that has created so many of the problems we are finding in the social media space. And some of those things in the social media space is actually translating to real life now. So we're beginning to witness divisions. We are beginning to witness disorientation. We're beginning to witness a people that seem to be disillusioned. You understand? Because we have given the opportunity by our actions or our inactions, we've given the opportunity, for people who do not have the interest of Benin at heart. We've given them the opportunity to invade our space, to invade our intellectual space, and so on and so forth. So, one of the things we need to do as a people is to collectively come together and resist every attempt by Benins and non-Benins, to distort our history, to misrepresent our history. We have a lot of our people out there who are actually out of ignorance misrepresenting our history. And there's this thing I've also noticed. A lot of people want to be content creators. So one of the things they know how to get followership, engagement, and all that is to attack the Benin Kingdom by way of putting out content that misrepresents facts. And some of our own people are actually guilty of these things too. That's the reality. You know, some of our own people are actually guilty of these things too. Then we have another group of people or persons who create platforms using Edo names, Esan names, Urhobo names, Isoko names, Itsekiri names, and the likes. And so they create this platform using our names and our identity to perpetrate their fraud. So we also, as a people, need to respond. And one of the ways we can respond is by identifying these platforms, identifying the people behind these platforms, and bringing it to the attention of our own people that so platform, so person are a fraud, and they are using our identity to perpetrate their fraud. That's on another hand. Then we also need to begin to look at some of the factors that have given rise to the kinds of things that we witness today. A couple of days back, I was reading something about a particular guy called Arisco, and we know that most of the things Arisco is doing has sort of armed first the Yorubas against the Benin people. Some of the claims that he has made, most of those claims have gone unchallenged, has given the opportunity to other people to use the claims, that he has put out there as a weapon to attack our people. And so we as a people need to begin to engage people like Arisco, to engage people like Aibe, and several other characters out there who are misrepresenting our history, misrepresenting our culture and our tradition. I think once we can be able to do these kinds of things, once we can be able to put measures in place, to address these issues, then we can now move to the next level, which is to emancipate our people, to bring our people together, to unify our people. You understand? But in the absence of not addressing these issues that are out there, it's going to be difficult to unite our people because there's so much disunity among the various tribes in the Benin Kingdom. And so that is one of the things that I think we should begin to address as a people. Thank you. Now, having said that, I would also want us to, move away from the subject of, the Benin identity and how, we have outsiders misrepresent our history and tradition. I wanted us to deliberate on the seeming feud between the Edos of the Bini ethnic group and the essence of the Bini ethnic group. Now, in doing this, I want us to, touch on, several claims by some of my own brothers. When I say my own brothers, I mean, because I'm an Esan man. I want us to touch on some of the claims, made by some of my own brothers, you know, regarding the essence as descendants of the Benin Kingdom. So, Mr. President, I would want you to go first, then Mr. Secretary, you could follow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Before I start, I want to inform our viewers. You can send us a message, a text message, if you have any question. If you want to know anything, send us a text message in this live broadcast. We will reply you. Whether you are using YouTube, Facebook, or whatsoever, send us a message. We will receive the message, and then we are going to reply you. Yes, to come to the issue between the Benins or the Edos and the Esan, it has been going on for a very long time now, and I can say for more than 3 years. And I would say there was a lot that went wrong, at the beginning. We were formerly in the same organization together. And immediately we left that organization, some of this madness, I would call it madness, started, and the distortion of the Edo history and the Eastern history started immediately because of some people who were having issue with us, leaving those groups. But notwithstanding, the Benin history has been there. You cannot just distort history the way you want it, because the truth will always prevail. As I said before, the Esan, they are descendants of the Edo people. We all are Edoid. They originated from the Benin Empire. And anybody who think otherwise should provide us evidence. Because what I'm hearing last, that the Esan originated from the Nok. I need an evidence. I need somebody. I need someone to come up with evidence to show that.
It's like Mr. Urhobo is out.
Yes, and although there's a connection between the Benin and the Nok Empire, but not the way people think it is. The Esan people, if you go to Benin today, you will find all the street, even the street, the home where all of them depart to where they are today, how they left, the history is there. For somebody to tell me, oh, the Benin only went there to capture, or they just went there, there were already people there, then who were these people? What is their name? Oh, sorry. It's like I'm now alone. So
I'm hearing you. I want to reply, Mr. Urhobo.
Okay. So who are these people?
Let me reply.
What is their name? How do they come to existence? So these questions remained unanswered. And for us, we know exactly how the Esan, different part of Esan, how they left is the Benin city or the Edo, where they are today. To say you are older than the Edo people or you are older than the Benin Empire, that is a big lie. Don't allow anybody to fool you, because the records are there. The records are there. The people who are in Esan today, they are, all of them, they are from Benin. They are of Benin origin. Even as far as the Igala people, we are sharing the same ancestors. So when somebody come up to say, oh, we are not Benis, we are older than Benin, the Benis are Yorubas, how come? You are not only destroying your own history, you are destroying your people. That is what we call madness. When somebody like Agbe Okosun will come out because of bitterness,
I'm with you, sir. I'm with you. I'm
okay,
listening.
because of
I'm replying, Mr.
bitterness
Orukpe.
and
I'm replying, Mr. Orukpe.
yeah, I think
He's
it's
having issue with his Facebook status.
okay.
So
Yeah,
he said he's hearing us, but he cannot see us.
yeah, I can see him now. So
Okay.
for somebody, because of bitterness and because of issue with other people, to be coming up to say, "Oh, we are not Benin, we are Esan." Yes, you are Esan. Our people, our elders always say, "Let those who want to speak Esan, let them speak Esan." And if you bring in today the Esan language and the Edo language, then you hardly see any different. You hardly see any difference. So because when people were talking about this, I went far to the Esan language, linguistic, to listen to them, call Esan people, to hear them speaking Esan. I can tell you, 99.9% you will understand what they are saying, and they will also understand what you are saying. And that tells you something, that tells you something. That these people, they are not different people. It's only distance that's changed the language a little bit. Even as far as the Igala people, we call Ije, that is our mother, the Igala call Ije. We call it Ogede, that is plantain. The Igala people call it Ogede. So people should understand, even as far as to the Ka people, when the Ka people are talking today, or the Agbor people, if you listen very carefully, then you will also understand that these people, they have something to do with the Benin. When the Igbos are coming up to say today, the Ika people are answering Igbo name, I think that is very, very wrong. The Igbos are answering Ika name. It's only turned upside down. Because the Igbo language was created out of Bini, Igala, and some other languages. The Ika language is older than that of Igbo. So you cannot say now these people, they are speaking Igbo. That is very, very wrong. So there's a lot that is we need to correct, because even the name you answer does not say you are from that region. For example, me, my name, or alias Dele Bello, that doesn't mean I'm a Yoruba person, because that Dele name is older than the Yoruba language. Yoruba language is 200 years old. My name is more than 1,000 years old. So how can you not be telling me that I'm not a Yoruba person? Because there are also many people from Edo State who answer that name Dele. Dele Giwa is from Edo State. Dele Momondo is from Edo State. Dele Osage or Bello Osage. There are so many. So that doesn't mean these people are Yoruba people. So to my Esan brothers and sisters, we cannot stand alone. If you think otherwise, go to your kings. Go and ask them. They will tell you your history, rather than from these, I would say, brainwashed people who doesn't know where their anus is or their mouth is. Because a wise man always thinks twice before he opens his mouth. And these people, they are not wise. They don't think twice before they open their mouth. All their interest is about social media, gaining something from social media. The history of Esan, if you go back to the history of Esan today, then everyone will understand where the Esan people left. The Esan people did not left the Nok Empire. Even the Nok people, nobody knows where they are today. although there's a relationship between the Benins and the Nok, but it's yet unproven because there's no written history about that, and there's no evidence to support that as of the moment. But for the Esan to say they are from the Nok, that is that is something very new to me. Abusing history is one, but sorry that I'm laughing. If people are abusing history, they think they are doing everyone a favor, but they are not doing the Esan people a favor. So thank you very much. Let me hand over to our General Secretary so that he can also contribute, so that I can answer some questions that are here right now.
All right, thank you, sir. Think Mr. Orukbe has got he's back.
He's back, yes.
My
Your
contribution
microphone.
to this. You said?
No, I'm talking to Mr. Rukbe. You should on his
Okay.
microphone.
I'm with you, please.
Okay.
Okay. My own little contribution regarding this, I want to say first, it is not a thing of argument that the Esans are not Benis or they are this and that, not that and that. It is not arguable. It is a fact, no, that cannot be argued by any reasonable person. It is only those who have interior motive of wrong intention towards distorting histories for the benefit of their selfish interest that we say otherwise. Otherwise, everyone knows the truth. So that which is known to be the truth can never be defended in any way because it is the truth. It is only when something is not true you try to defend it to make it look like truth. So it is so unfortunate that we find ourselves in a situation whereby some of our brothers and sisters are not the one teaching our fathers the history of their forefathers. As a child growing up, I got to know that we have to learn histories from our parents, not our parents learning their history from us. Today, it is the other way around that we now have our social media charlatan brothers and sisters who come on here bastardizing history, teaching the unknown as the know, falsifying informations just to suit their interest. And it's also baffled me that we also have other of our brothers and sisters hailing them, applauding them for speaking out rubbish. If, like you have said, if anyone want to know history regarding their origin, their relationship with their extended brothers and sisters, we have our Enigis in Esan land who are the custodian of the tradition of Esan land. Each villages, they should go there, ask questions, they will tell them. The one regarding the knock you talk about, I saw the message, I read it, it is laughable because I read there that they had relationship with the knock for about 8,000 years ago. The other day, one of them, one of our crazy brother online, also made reference to Esan as the first Enoje. But they should learn that who is the father of Esan? Is it not Ezomo? Where is Ezomo from? Is it not Benin? The Ezomo, the very first Ezomo in Benin Kingdom. We should learn this. Ezomo is one of the oldest elder in Benin. He was one of the 4 elders that founded the Council of the Uzama, which is today known as Uzamani, which started as 4 members. Ezomo was among. A descendant of that first Ezomo was the same person who migrated far away to the central side of Edo, where you later have his own descendant as Esan. There are other groups that migrated at intervals, just like every other of Edo origin that are around the kingdom of the ancient kingdom of old. Today, they fall under different states. But that has not removed the fact that we do not have the same ancestry, that we are not brothers and sisters. The creation of states has done more worse anything to than anything that could have happened to Benin history, because the more states were created, the more our people of extension begins to see themselves different from their source and their roots. That is the major problem state creation caused. State creation gave room for land disputes, gave room for others to see themselves different, gave room for new identity. Those some now call themselves dentals, so call themselves this due to political divorce of the Benin kingdom. But despite that, nothing can remove the fact that you are not of that root. You can decide to say, I am no longer part of you. Or I can decide today, if I feel uncomfortable in my family, I can say I'm no longer a member of this family. But it will never remove the fact that I do not share blood with that family. That is how life works. We have people in the history of Benin, directly from the palace, who angrily left. They took along the tree called Engenni, uprooted it from the palace, and went away and said they are stepping their foot out of this territory. But that never changed the fact that they are not Benis. That is how it is. So I wonder why our people should now be the one teaching their fathers the history of their forefather. So it's the other way around. So that is why I said it's not something I can actually buttress much about. It is just for us to talk sense into them as much as we can. Because if they allow people with interior motive to blindfold them with lies, giving wrong presentation of history, they will fall victim of ignorance the more and the more they continue. The history is very clear. If by extension, people that are far off, the closest siblings the Benis have among all the Benin origin is the Urhobos and the Esans.
Exactly.
That is the fact. So for political reasons, for social media, blogging, money reasons, a lot of people are now beginning to display arrogance, display stupidity, and display foolishness. Like the book of Proverbs, we say, a fool speaks, the wise speak because they have something to say, but the foolish ones speak because they feel they must say something. So that is what is wrong with some of our brothers. They feel they must say something, they must come on here to get some meetups with some targets on social media to get their Mark Zuckerberg benefits and all that. So they come on here, they spill anything they like. Some of them come to do saga, insult each other, do this, say all sorts of things just for the aim of making money. But others, foolish like them, will be there typing, writing, saying all sorts of things, hailing them, not knowing that they are also together engaging with them in the heart of stupidity. So this is something that I feel I shouldn't waste much time on. Whoever wants to know his or her history should not depend on those charlatans or social media. They should go to our villages in Esa land. We have custodians. If we are in a community where there is no ONOJ there, there must be a communal head. There must be elders that are there ready and waiting to tell them their history. So right from the time of Ogisos, when I say the Ezomo has been in existence right from the time of Ogiso, the very first Ogiso Igodo, or the very first Ogiso Igodo, who hailed from Ilioto between Dumezu and Saple Road. That was where Ogiso Igodo was born. That's where he hailed from. He made Ugbekun the headquarters of Benin at that time. So when he became Ogiso Igodo, Ezomo, who is known to be the main father of Esan, was among the four elders from the very first Ogiso, 40 BC. Before then, we had Ojo-Were rulership. That is why in Benin today, Ojo-Were title is the oldest title in Benin. We had Ojo-Were title before. When it got to the time of Igodo, it became the first Ogiso. Igodo, the land was later named after Igodo, called the land of Igodo. But a lot of people don't know how the word Igodo came. It is named after Igodo, the first Ogiso. Thereafter, it continued like that. So the relationship has been there. And it was a practice of when it gets to where the oldest man will become the Ojo-Were, which transcended to Ogiso dynasty. At a point, it became hereditary. At some point, it also broke. They went back to the old era where the oldest man will become Ogiso. At some point, it came back to hereditary, which ended in the time of Owodo, that led to the Oba dynasty, maintaining that line to date. So if you go to the Oba of Benin Palace, we have our chiefs from Esan land there, who are part. Who I know, I can even mention one. Dr. Joe is in my area. He's a chief there in Oba of Benin Palace, a very prominent one at that. So the relationship between us, the brotherhood and sisterhood between us, the bloodline relationship between us is undeniable. It is not something that can be argued for any reason, except for those who want to gain cheap popularity, those who have been bribed, and those who have been paid by some aggrieved individual who have their motive. Because I know a lot of them are being paid to misbehave the way they are doing. Mr. Urhobo made mention of Arisco. That is part of the thing they are doing. They pay people to come out online to speak out, to spill out rubbish and all that. So for me, I feel somehow concerned because some of our brothers and sisters who are supposed to be coming out to debunk those lies end up engaging in saga. They believe in their individual pockets just to do saga to make money. But I also would say that we in the palace we have spokespersons, we have secretary, there are office in charge of media and publicity. They should also be speaking out. In Benin, it is said that Ekpeye, that is, Oba hears everything from every source, from every angle. So they cannot tell us they are not hearing anything going on. They are online as well. So they should be coming out to be debunking all of these things. Otherwise, if we keep silent and continue like this, they will sow into the heart of many to believe that they do have nothing to do with their origin. So that's I have to say for now.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Very wonderful contribution. So I'm just going to, wrap it up as regards this subject matter. First, I want to, address the non-Edos, and I need them to really understand what I'm about to say. First, we need to understand that the Oba of Benin is the Oba of Benin. He's not the Oba of Edo. He is the Oba of Benin. He is the physical representation of everything Benin, whether from the Ogiso, the Edionwere era to the Ogiso era, even now to the Obaship era. He who sits on that throne is a physical representation of everything Benin. So he represents the past, the present, and the future. And that's why it is fundamental for us to understand that he is addressed as the Oba of Benin. He is not addressed as the Oba of Edo. We need to first get, this right. And it means that as Esans, we have an equal right as every Edo son and daughter to approach the throne, the Oba of Benin throne. When the Edos seek justice from the throne, the Esans have the right, the equal right, like the Edos, to seek justice from the throne. The Urhobos, the Itsekiris, the Ikas, the Ukwuanis, the Evers, the Gadangbes have equal right, like the Esans and the Edos, to approach the throne of the Oba of Benin. The throne of the Oba of Benin is not for the Edo people. It is for all Benins. And we need to, understand these things, because I think that's where one of the major problem is coming from. Because an average non-Edo thinks that the Oba of Benin is the king of the Edos. No, he is not the king of the Edos. He is the king of the Benins, which means if you trace your ancestry back to Idu, if you trace your ancestry back to the Benin, ancient Benin Empire, it means that you have a right, like every other person, like every other tribe of Benin ancestry, to seek whatever you need to seek from the throne in Benin City. Now, people need to understand that we have the Edo South, we have the Edo North, and we have the Edo Central. Where the palace is currently situated is in Oredo. Now, because the palace is situated in Oredo does not mean that every other person who is not from Oredo does not have the right to approach the palace. The palace has to be situated somewhere. It can't be in the sky. It can't be under the sea. It has to be somewhere. And we need to understand that from history, we got to know that the palace shifted from one place to the other at different times.
Yeah.
Now to my Esan brothers. You see, when I hear things like we are not Edos, of course we are not Edos. Nobody has said we are Edos. But we cannot say that we are not Benins. That's two different things. And like I always say, and I always tell my Esan brothers, and some of my Edo brothers who always, try to create conflict where there is actually none. I am from Uboha. My great grandfathers were military officers in the Aboh of Benin, of the Benin army. I am a fourth generation indigene of Sakomba, where we have present day Sakomba. Virtually all Uboha
From
are
Igu,
from Sakomba.
Ugbo from Igu.
From,
That was where
yes, from Igbo.
they migrated from.
Yeah, that's where we migrated from. And there are a lot of other Esan groups who migrated from one time or the other to present day Esan. It's just like saying I'm a Nigerian and I become an American citizen. The fact that I'm an American citizen does not stop me from being a Nigerian.
Of course.
That's the reality. The fact that I travel to England today, or that I travel to America today and I give birth to my kids in America and they cannot speak the Esa language or the Edo language, or let me say in general, the Benin language or any of the Benin languages, it does not stop them from being Benin.
Of course.
And we need to really begin to understand these things. And like I always tell my Esan brothers and sisters, the Ogisos were made up of various tribes. They were not just Edos.
Exactly.
And I think, this is where education needs to come in. Because before those in Edo South took the identity of the name Edo, centuries had passed. In the era of the Ogisos, they were not called Edos. They were called Benins.
Ubini.
You understand? We are called Ubini. You understand?
Initially, it was Nigodo, then later Ubini.
Then from Igede, yes, from Ubini. And you see,
it was Obaewa the first who later named the land after Edo.
Edo, who happens to be someone
for
who
his
saved
benevolence
him.
towards him.
Yeah, exactly. Just to immortalize the man who actually intervened, and make sure he lived. So we need to even understand how these names came about. Because in the Ogiso era, there was no such thing as Edo. Edo was just actually a name given to, in those times we can, give birth to children and name them Edo. Just like I have a friend whose name is Esagbedo.
Just the same way we have villages named after individuals today.
Individuals. That's how it was. You understand? Until Oba Ewedo came and changed the identity again. Now, when he did that, we need to understand that before that even occurred, people had migrated far and wide. Because one of the problems with my Esan brothers and sisters, and my Edo brothers and my Urhobo brothers, is they do not even actually understand what the Benin Kingdom was. And so they are looking at the Benin Kingdom from its present geographical location. And that's where there's a lot of problem. The Benin Kingdom is not Edo and Delta. We need to first understand this. And for us to understand this, we need to go back centuries back and begin to look at the archives, look at the navigational maps, the European maps, and we will begin to understand that in what we call Guinea, After we had the Timbuktu guys, the Song guy, we had Benin.
Exactly.
People need to understand these things. We had Benin. And like I always tell my Esan brothers and sisters, if you say you are not Benin, okay, no problem. Where are you from? Because at least there is no scientific evidence or any evidence whatsoever that proves that man germinated from the ground. So you must come from somewhere. And it is because we have posed these questions to them. You know, it's because we have posed these questions to them. Some of us Esans who understand what is going on, we have thrown these questions to the mischievous ones amongst us. And now the new generation movement is that we are from Nok. We are of the Nok civilization. And that is actually very laughable. Because if we are from the Nok civilization, it means that the Edos are from the Nok civilization. That's the reality. It's like a Benin man saying today that he is not, the Gala man is not related to him. That's not true. From every cultural and traditional evidence we have, historical, it is proven that the Igalas and every other Benin tribe are related. It's a proven fact. It's a proven fact that the forefathers who migrated downwards, you know, to set up what we have today as the Edo, Delta, and whatever, are brothers and cousins to those who are today in present-day Kogi, some parts of Kwara, and Benue.
Exactly.
It's a proven fact. It's a proven fact today that people in present-day Benin Republic, which used to be Dahomey, in present-day Togo, and present-day Volta region of Ghana, and Accra, places like Nungwa and Teshe, are descendants and relatives of those of us who are in present-day Edo Delta, Kogi, part of Bayelsa, Rivers, Enugu, Ebonyi, Cross River. These are proven facts. And so we need to begin to understand that it's been centuries. And because it's been centuries, we've had uncles, we've had grandfathers, we've had great-grandfathers who have, you know, migrated and founded other territories. And because of distance, there will be changes in the way we think. There will be changes in the way we speak. There will be changes in the way we treat each other. That's a fact. And one of the examples I want to actually mention before I wrap this all up, you know, just to educate our people and make them understand that cultural dynamism is not just alien to the African society. If you look at the Roman Empire and you look at the Roman history, it is a proven fact that the Roman Empire was not conquered. The Roman Empire fell not through conquest, but it fell through disintegration.
Yes.
At the time in the Great Benin Empire, the Great Benin Empire had problems that resulted to disintegration. So we had some people move away and founded various, you know, communities in Esan, in Delta, in Bayelsa, in Kogi, and the rest of them. Just like we have in the ancient Roman Empire, where we had disintegration. And that disintegration was what brought about the Belgian Empire. The Belgian Empire is what we know today as present-day Belgium. It was what brought about Germania, Germany. It was what brought about Portugal. It was what brought about part of present-day Greece and a lot of other European superpower.
Exactly.
We need to understand these things. But that does not mean that an Italian or a Belgian or a Portuguese or a British or a German is not Roman. They are Roman by root.
Even Turkey, up to Turkey. Roman
Yes.
Empire
Even,
extended up
up
to
to
Turkey.
part of Turkey,
Croatia.
they are Roman, they are Roman by roots. So their ancestry is Roman. And so we need to begin to understand that nobody sits in one place for centuries. Nobody. As the population begins to grow, people begin to aspire and people begin to move based on aspiration. Communities begin to become so small that it cannot contain various views, opinions, and agendas and interests. And so various families begin to find new grounds. And it has happened. We have our people in present day Idore, in Ondo State. We have our people in Ekiti. They don't speak Edo. They don't speak Esan. They speak what they call Yoruba, even though that language called Yoruba in itself is questionable.
Yes.
Because what I call it is Anago. What they speak is basically Anago, a little bit of Anago, and the Oyo language itself. That's what it is.
Thank you very much.
And I always try to educate our people to make them understand that the colonization of the Oyo Empire or the Oyo Kingdom in various places in geographical location called Southwest today is what brought about the common lingua franca, the common language that these people speak. Because when you go deep down into various tribes in the Southwest today, they have their own languages
Each of them
that
speak
if they speak, the other tribe in the Southwest
they don't hear
cannot
each other.
understand.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
They
But
say,
we will not say because the Ekiti man, you understand, has a distinct language from an Izebu man, from an Egba man, then we would say the Egba man and the Ijebu man are not descendants of Izodua. Because we know for a fact that before Izodua stepped to Ife, there was no Obaship.
Exactly.
We know for a fact that after Izodua, departed to be with the ancestors, in Ife there still was no Obaship. We also know for a fact that the son of Izodua, who later founded the Oyo Kingdom, without Obaship.
Yes.
We also know that the sons and the grandsons of Izodua, who founded other kingdoms, little kingdoms and territory and communities in every other place in the Southwest, did that without Obaship. That is why before the 1950s, there was no traditional ruler in the Southwest with the title of Oba. None. The facts are there. The only problem, and I want my Edo brothers and my Esan brothers to understand, is that the only problem that the Southwesterners have today is that they think that admitting that Izodua is Benin would make them look inferior to the Benin Kingdom. There's no competition. History is there. There is no greater kingdom in the southwest of Nigeria greater than the Benin Kingdom. The history is there. So there is no competition. We are not competing with anybody. And when we say Benin Kingdom, the essence must understand that you cannot write the history of the great Benin Empire without the essence. You cannot write the history of the great Benin Empire without the Urhobos. You cannot write the history of the great Benin empires without the Ikas. Just as you cannot write the history of the Great Benin Empire without the Edos. Today, we cannot say we would write the history of the Great Benin Empire without the Ifons,
Yes.
without the Evers, those who migrated, without the Gadangbes, who passed through Ife before they moved again to Noche and moved again to present-day Volta region before they moved to Nungwa, and another set of people who moved by sea to present-day areas where we have the Adans and the Teshi Nungwa people of the Greater Accra region. We cannot write the history of the Great Benin Empire without mentioning all these groups. And we as Esans, we as Ikas, we as Urhobos, we need to begin to engage in some sort of soul searching. Because if the Gadangbe man far away in Nungwa have a ceremony every year called the Obeneshimo to commemorate their movement from present-day Benin to present-day Greater Accra. I mean, imagine the kilometers, the miles far apart. Then how come we, as Esans, as Urhobos, as Ikas, as Ukwuanis or Aniomas or whatever we want to call ourselves, how come we choose to shy away from our ancestry? Of what benefit? What we are actually just doing is just we are playing into the hands of the British and the puppet system that the British has created in Nigeria. Because what the British did was to make sure it annihilates everything Benin. And in annihilating everything Benin, it sought to destroy everything Edo. It sought to destroy everything Esan. It sought to destroy everything Urhobo. It sought to destroy everything Ukwuani, Anioma, and every other group. And the reason the British did that, it's just a normal Roman strategy. When you go to a place and you conquer the people, destroy their history. For if they don't know who they are, it will be easy for us to dictate to them and control them. It's a simple strategy. It's an age-long ancient strategy, and we need to understand that. And so those who inherited the British system perpetuated that strategy. And how did they do it? First, the British helped them in creating three major groups: the Hausa, the Yoruba, and the Igbo. Now, in the north, they subjugated the Fulanis, they subjugated the Kanuris, and lumped everybody as Hausa. But what they now did again in the north was they made the north one formidable force. But now they came down south and they created the Igbos, because people need to understand that the Igbo is a recent creation of the British.
Yes.
It never existed 200 years ago. The Yoruba is a creation of the British. It never existed 200 years ago. It's a political identity that was bestowed on certain people by the British. That's the reality. It has nothing to do with ethnicity. It has nothing to do with tribe. It's a political identity. And people need to understand it. Because an Egba man is not truly a Yoruba man. An Izebu man is not truly an Izebu man. No. A Yoruba man. No. That's the reality. But we understand these things. Because the British needed to control the South. And so they created two political blocks and divided the Benin people into those two political blocks, which is the Igbo in the southeastern region and the Yorubas in the southwestern region. But let's look at geography. Geography has 4 cardinal points. We have the north, we have the south, we have the west, and we have the east. But you see, the British in its cunningness, decided that, okay, we are not going to have 4 cardinal points. So we are going to have 3 political cardinal points. So we would have the North as a monotonous entity. Then we will have the Southeast and the Southwest. There will be no South-South. That is exactly what happened. And in this equation, because just as we are speaking today, we need to make our people understand that our cousins in the Middle Belt are suffering. The Igalas and the Jukuns and the rest of them are suffering because of this. Why is it so? It is because when the British came, it was only those people in the Middle Belt today that resisted the British and fought them to stand still. Just as when the British came to southern Nigeria, it was only the Benin Empire that resisted the British. Even after the collapse or the fall of the Benin city, which is the capital, the guerrilla warfare continued. Don't the Esans know that the Esans fought the British for another 3 years after Benin fell? Didn't the Esans know that? Are they not aware that the Esans fought the British 3 years continuously after Benin fell? So if the Esans do not feel connected to the Benin project, why were they fighting? Why were they fighting? Didn't the Esans know that the reason why Benin fell was because there was no mobilization from outside Benin on time, and that by the time the Esan warriors had arrived at Benin, or before they arrived at Benin, they actually got the news that Benin had fallen? Didn't the Esans and the Urhobos and the rest of us know that the reason why the British was able to capture Benin City, the capital of the Benin Kingdom, was because the military at that time were positioned outside the capital? These are simple facts that if we sit down and piece these informations together, we will clearly understand where we were, where we are, and where we ought to be. And that's the reason why when I see my Esan brothers, embrace ideologies that are alien to us, I cannot help but just begin to wonder where we have gone wrong. And yes, like Mr. Secretary, like you have rightly said, the Benin Traditional Council itself should bear some of these responsibilities. We need to also hold them responsible for some of the issues that are going on today. We need to also hold our energies responsible for some of the problems happening today. Because every one of them, they just sit down there looking helpless. If our energies come out today and say, no, this is it. If the Benin Traditional Council come out today and say, no, the Benin Traditional Council is not a traditional council for Edos. It's a traditional council that is all-encompassing. Probably it will help douse the tension. And people will begin to understand that the Benin Kingdom is not for the Edos, has never been for the Edos. It was never for the Edos then. It's not going to be for the Edos tomorrow. It's for the whole Benin Kingdom, the whole ethnic group. As an Everman, has the right to come from present-day Volta region of Ghana and seek audience with the Oba of Benin. Exactly. He has that right. He has the same right that the Edos have. A Gadangbe in present-day Nungwa has the same right an Edo man has to seek audience from the Oba of Benin. You know why? Because the Oba of Benin is his king. It's simple. Because the present person sitting on the throne, the God King figure sitting on that throne, is a custodian of our culture and our tradition. And our culture and tradition is it's multi-tribal, it's multi-dimensional, it's multi-dynamic. And that is one of the most beautiful things about the Benin Kingdom. The fact that we have multiple traditions, multiple culture, all in one. That is the beauty about the Edo tradition. And we need to, as a people, whether you are Edo, whether you are Esan, whether you are Ewe, whether you are Gandangbe, whether you are Ika, whether you are from Agbor or whatever, we need to begin to embrace these dynamics as a people. Because if we do not do this, we stand the risk of being annihilated politically and socioeconomically. And it's been going on. We don't even control the resources on our lands. We don't. And how did we get there? We must begin to understand the things that our forefathers were confronted with. We must begin to understand the roles that certain people who are trying to distort our history today played in subjugating us. Because the Southeast, the core Igbo entity today, and the core Yoruba entity in the Southwest today, are guilty.
Yes.
They are guilty of aiding and abetting the destruction of the aspirations of the Benin people. That's a fact. Now, we are not saying we are going to hold anybody responsible or create enmity, but the truth needs to be stated. When we had the British police, the Southern Niger Protectorate Police, it will interest everybody to know that the emblem of the Southern Niger Protectorate Police was the Ada and the Iben. It's on record. It should also interest the people to understand that the Southern people, the Benin people, irrespective of the tribe, we were not colonized by the British. We were not colonized. The Benin territory was not a British colony.
No.
People need to understand these things because you see, because there are no histories anymore, then everybody is running around. And it is intentional. I'm telling you, the political class intentionally omitted history from our academics. It's intentional because they don't want you to know where you're from. Because in knowing where you're from gives you strength. It gives you a certain level of responsibility. And that's why nobody wants to talk about, where you're from. Today, there is a movement from the Southeast saying that you should abrogate state of origin. Why should you abrogate state of origin? Why? It's clear.
We don't have any identity.
It's because you want to wipe off our identity so that we all can have an artificial identity. Even in present-day America, where everybody recognizes as American, the Indians are still there.
Yes.
And they still hold on to their identity.
The Irish people.
So we are falling for the gimmicks of these politicians. And our traditional institutions need to begin to stand up. Because these politicians today are usurping, they have usurped the authority of our traditional institutions. In Britain, in the UK today, the King Charles, is the head of government. They have a parliament and where they have a prime minister. Now they tell you that your traditional institutions are archaic, but the British still holds on to its traditional institution. So why can't we today have our traditional institutions sit side by side with the political arrangements? It's simple. It is because the political class needs to continue with the agenda of the British people. And it's an agenda of control. So you see today, a lot of the misunderstandings, a lot of the divisions we have amongst our people is because of selfish interest. What they do in destroying the Benin Kingdom, they had to look for greedy Benins who they could use. And that led to those greedy Benins showing them the path. This is where our trade routes are. This is where these are. This is the position of where the army is situated at this point. And the British used that to penetrate us. And after the fall of the Benin Empire, they needed to control the people, to control the institutions, to control the economics. And what did they do? They used our greedy brothers and sisters today. That is why you see today, the entity called Nigeria is using people like Nyesom Wike against the aspiration of the Benin people, because Ikweres are Benins. It is using politicians of Benin ancestry against the Benin people today. It's using these people to divide our people, because when we are divided, we cannot talk about resource control. The Esan man cannot control his resources. The Edo man cannot control his resources. The Ikere man cannot control his resources. The Ndonni man cannot control his resources. The Ukwuani man cannot control his resources. The Ika cannot control his resources. Our cousins, the Ijos, cannot control their resources. And so we must begin to understand that as Esans, as Edos, as Ikas, as Ikweres, or any tribal identity that you agree to identify with, the unity in diversity is what will guarantee our survival as a people. Before we can talk of succeeding as a people. Right now, we are even trying to survive. We can't think of how to succeed. So we need to first fight for our survival within the Nigerian arrangement. And we cannot survive if we are fighting as Edo, as Esan, as Ika, as Urhobo. We are not going to survive. But if we come together as Benins, there lies the secret to our survival and success as our people. I want to leave it there, Mr. President.
Thank you very much for the great analysis. And I'm very grateful to be hearing all this you have been saying. And for those of you who think the Benin Empire is restricted to Edo people, I hope you now understand how great the Benin Empire still is. You know, although the British tried to bury us, but the Benin Empire has been a seed, you know, right from Igede time, right from the Ojonwere time, you know, we always regenerate, you know, even before the great flooding and after the great flooding, we still regenerate, we come together to being who we are today. As you said, the Oba Palace is not restricted to Edo people alone. Our late Oba, or our Oba who joined our ancestors, Oba Erediawa, used to say, Agbor ninya, agbinya noka, runda we imaenya yakin. You don't kill a maize for a yam. You don't kill a yam for a maize, because all of them are food. If you are hungry, you will eat both of them. And people should understand the meaning of that word. You don't beat an Isama for Edo man. You don't beat an Edo man for Isama, or Urhobo man, or Isoko, or any one of us, because we all are equal. We are from the same parent, no matter the distance we are today. Before we leave this broadcast, I would like to say because somebody is posting a message here with advertisement, please, we are not responsible for the advertisement that is being sent to this house or to the chat form. Please don't contact those people. It's like they are fraud people. So because I cannot delete it from here, and but immediately the end of this show, I can now delete it. So thank you, everyone. It's like Mr. Rukbe has left us, and there's a lot we are going to be saying, and there is a lot we are going to be doing. So I still like our General Secretary still have something to say. So thank you if you still have.
Yeah, I have a lot to say, but for the worth of time, I will be brief. I
Okay,
will try to be brief. Mr. Rukbe has elaborated so
he's back
much that
again.
one can really have a lot to deduce. Well, when we talk of our identity as a people, our people should understand that the Benin Empire is larger than they think it is today. Those days we have a way of identifying ourselves based on our distance. For example, the Benin's across the moat by Third Junction to Upper Sapmomba, because from by Third Junction towards Ring Road is known as Sapmomba Road. Third Junction towards Idogbo is known as Upper Sapmomba. So everybody across the moat towards Idogbo were referred to as Edo N'Ekue. That was how we were known. To say Isoko. Then when you go towards Upper Sapmomba up to Orion River, the Benin's across the Orion River, they will say Edo N'Ekue. That is how that name Orion local government came. They don't Iyeke, that's behind the Orion. The Benin is behind Orion. Then when you go to Ogba, they will say Edoniri Iyekogba. Then those of the Benins who were not within the present Benin location, they were referred to as Edonirisi. That's Isi is like abroad, a distance, a far away from the main location. So they were referred to as Edonire Isi. So we need to really understand those phrases and the informations regarding behind this. Mr. Rube made mention of how the division of the Roman Empire came into being and all that. You know, which has to which relate to the language you speak. Today differently, slightly different, and all that. I will use the Greek language as an example. Because when we say generally we of Benin stock, we speak Edoid language. Whether you call yourself Edo, whether you call yourself Esan, Urhobo, Itsekiri, Ijo, the Agbor, Ika, Isoko, like that. Ukwuani, we speak Edoid. So when you refer to Greek, for example, the Greek language and the Latin, for example, the present day Latin is also divided. When someone tells you he or she speaks Latin, you ask which of the Latins? Because Latin is made up of 4 major languages we know today. The Portuguese is the Latin language.
Yes.
Italian, what we call Italian, is a Latin. what we call Spanish is Latin. The Roman language, the Romanian, the language, the main official language of Romania is
Yes.
Latin. These are the 4 Latin languages. So they refer to them as Latin, but they have slight difference, the way we have slight difference in Edoid. The same thing goes to the Yorubas, as the Mr. Rukmi said. What the Yoruba actually speak today as the core Yoruba is Oyo. They have the Egbas. Egbas have their own language. We have some Ikale, which falls into Edo and Ondo.
Yes.
They have their own language. Ekiti people have their own language. But Yoruba is a conglomeration of people put together with one language of Oyo people as a general spoken language. The same thing goes to our Igbo brothers and sisters. The general Igbo language they speak is Imo. The general Igbo language they speak is Imo. So people from Ebonyi, they speak completely different. It is difficult for people from Imo, Anambra, to understand Ebonyi language. Sometimes they even claim they are not Igbo. That is, the other Igbos despise them sometimes. So what I'm trying to say here is that, yes, we have been associated with each other, either by blood, by geographical location, or otherwise. But we must understand that no matter what, we are one. We have no need to despise ourselves because we want to benefit something either politically or out of greed. You know, for example, now I want to state that the issue that has to do with our people generally must be well understood. That the Benin history is something of great importance to the southern part of Nigeria.
Exactly.
There couldn't have been a country called Nigeria today if the Britain had not succeeded in taking over Benin. And this was a plan that was well drafted, because the British know the only obstacle that held them from colonizing Nigeria was Benin. Mr. Rugbe talked about disintegration. Disintegration started when they started, first of all, they collected Lagos from the Oba. The first place they made a colony was Lagos. So officially, Lagos was taken. So when they say the North and Southern Protectorate were amalgamated, people should learn to understand that before then, Lagos was already a colony.
Yes.
So the South and the North and Lagos were the ones amalgamated together. But before then, Lagos was already a colony, ceded away from the Oba, because Oba was in charge of Lagos. Later, they succeeded in taking other towns and villages. Gradually, the kingdom was weakened.
Yes.
The kings within those areas, which were then subject to the Oba of Benin, were now being subject to the rulership of the British. And as such, it was easier for them to use those areas against the Benin's. Before the British came and came with their conquest and the invasion, there was a law passed in the in the European Parliament in Belgium under the reign of King Leopold II.
Leopold.
There was an order that they should stop, the European countries should stop selling firearms to Africa locations in the area they have their presence as colony. They
Yes.
should stop selling because they knew if they had continued to sell firearms to us, those firearms will end up being used against them
Then
when they decide to bring war. They first abolished that, which also served as an avenue for them. And people should also understand that the Benin invasion was the first time in modern history, where the British used the most sophisticated weapon as at that time. And it was not possible without the use of the Hausa Fulanis and the Yoruba neighbors against us. They were recruited.
yes.
Majority of them were recruited as the local army because the army that came from the core English that were in Benin for the war were not more than 200.
No.
So majority of their forces were local. They were local within the Hausa Fulanis and the Yoruba against. We are not saying this to despise anybody, but this is a factual history, not to everybody. But despite that, they never succeeded in ruling the kingdom. The kingdom still stands to date. The history remains. The outline of the information is known to those who wish to know, and it's available. So that which God has established to stay has come to stay. Well, I would end by saying that our brothers and sisters, wherever they are, they should please seek knowledge in their youth and seek to know more truth for themselves, not to give themselves away to be used as a scapegoat and charlatan against their own origin. That is my contribution.
Thank you very much, our able General Secretary, Mr. Joe Wise. I learned a lot today because I'm also not an historian. And the little I've learned today make me to be to have more knowledge than it was before. And I hope every one of you who is following our page, who is following us, we also stand with us to learn more about the Benin Empire so that we can together be putting the record straight. Because all what you are hearing in social media today is not the real history of the Benin Empire. We have the custodian of the Benin Empire, which is the Ogba of Benin. And he know more about the history. And what people should also understand, the palace is not just a palace. The palace is an institution. It's like a university. When you go there, you learn so many things. Most of our kings today, for example, from Iseluku, from Agbor, and so many other areas, they come to the palace to learn something about administration, to learn about the Benin Empire. So people just think maybe Benin Empire is just maybe to summon somebody, Benin Palace is to summon somebody and you go and settle the issue. No, the Benin Palace is more than that. It's greater than that. And if you look at everything, every statesman that visited our state today always go to the palace because they know how great we are. So please join us next week, same time, Saturday, 3 p.m., and so that you know more about yourself. Because as far as you are from the Benin Empire, if you look at this, what I'm putting out today, this is the other, this is the sorry, because of the mirror, this Ada and Eben, as our Igbo secretary said before, there are so many ways people will identify themselves, and this is one of them. And we have other ways. We have traditional marks, we have the Iwu, we have so many other things people were using to identify themselves. So our identity is still alive. We are not dead, we are still alive. So join us and know more about yourself, know more about the Benin Empire, and let us also conquer the falsehood of those people deforming our history, to allow them to know and understand that they have no space in our empire. So thank you very much. I hope to see you healthy next Saturday. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.